Hello, happy belated Valentine's Day. Today's book is The 5 Love Languages by Gary Chapman. I couldn't say the word love as if it's the hardest word I've ever said in my life. I choked on it, as you can see, but we're reading The 5 Love Languages. And today I didn't have time to put on a cute dress outfit thingy because I only have enough time to film this podcast. So I'm filming the podcast and then that's it. But I did put on a fuzzy hat, a bucket hat that matched my outfit. But if you're listening to this, just pretend that I didn't say any of that. All right. Stuck in a rut, read a book, don't like to read, take a look, and I'll read the book for you. Welcome to Jordy's Book Report, the podcast. Let me go put this guitar somewhere. So this book, The 5 Love Languages, is very simple to remember, understand, and I don't want to think too much about the notes and all that stuff. Read it and tell you what I think about it without reading notes and being super sterile about it, and maybe it'll be interesting, maybe it'll be a train wreck, we don't know, but this is my first time not reading directly from my notes, and so I guess I'm just going to see how that goes. So, today's book, The 5 Love Languages, is interesting, to say the least, to me. I think it's good for anyone to know these things, and there's even one for children. So if you have children, it's really a good read for you as a parent so that you can better connect with your children. But let's just assume that we're dealing with a relationship in this scenario, and you can take some of these concepts and apply them to your friendships to enhance those, because if you make the people around you feel loved and appreciated, then I'm sure your life will be better. Without further ado, is it further ado or further or do? Further ado? That sounds better. Let's get into it. So I personally took the test, and I will tell you my love language, my primary love language and my secondary love language at the end. Maybe you'll be able to figure it out, maybe not, but I will be telling you that because sometimes you guys comment that you want me to talk more about my personal experiences and whatnot. Since this doesn't involve anyone else, I don't see any harm in doing it. So you have your love language number 1, quality time, and in no particular order, I don't think. And love language number 2, physical touch. Love language number 3, receiving gifts. Love language number 4, words of affirmation. And love language number 5, acts of service. Why is it important to know these? Because it's important to fall in love based on reason and choice, not instinct. Because the in-love feeling usually will fade in a few months to a couple of years at best. So you have to consciously choose to love the person that you're with and make them feel loved, even if they feel loved in a different way than you do, and that's usually the case. So, based on my memory, I'm going to talk to you guys about the love languages. So first, quality time. Quality time is a love language that's a little tricky for some people because you can't buy it, and you can't fake it, and you can't say it. It's the whole idea of walking the walk and not talking the talk. So some people only feel loved when you physically are present with them and spend quality time with them. That means you're not paying attention to the football game or Call of Duty or whatever, and you're actually engaging in conversation, enjoying a moment or a place together, and you're present. So quality time is a common but difficult love language to appease, especially if it's not yours. I don't want to miss any of them, so I'll just look at my phone to see the list because I feel like I'm going to forget one. Okay. Physical touch is the next one, and that is when it doesn't have to be like sensual. That could be hugging, holding hands, cuddling, kissing, whatever. But somebody whose love language is physical touch would like to be shown in those ways. So if you never touch your partner, you never hug them, you never want to cuddle, you put a pillow barrier between you when you sleep at night, that person will probably feel pretty unloved. Even if you do other things for them, even if you give them gifts or you spend quality time with them, whatever the case. Love language number 3, receiving gifts. Some people don't feel loved if they're not being given gifts to show the love of their part. I don't know why I said that so weird. If you're not being given gifts, you don't feel loved, basically. And when somebody has the love language of receiving gifts, it doesn't have to be an expensive gift. It can be like a thoughtful note, a card, a flower picked on the way home, just something meaningful. It doesn't necessarily have to be expensive. It could be something thoughtful, expensive. It could be them getting your favorite bag of chips on the way home and bringing it to you, or stuff like that. But it's just a thoughtful gesture in the form of a gift. So that's a love language. Number 4, words of affirmation. So somebody telling you constantly they love you, they appreciate you, they complimenting you, thinking that you're wonderful and amazing, and they just, basically sing your praises and reaffirm that they care about you, they're there for you, and they love you. That is a love language. So some people might have someone who's physically there and spends quality time with them or gives them lots of gifts, but if they never tell them how they feel about them, or they never express feelings or emotion or appreciation in a verbal way, that person won't feel loved. They'll question, their place or position with that person. And lastly, acts of service. So no, you do not have to be your partner's butler, but if you're willing to help out with things like, let's say, the trash is full and you take the trash out, or they always make you breakfast and you decide you're going to try to make them breakfast even though you suck at cooking, whatever. Or, I don't know, just doing something that they need to do just to make their life a little bit easier, like walking the dog for them if they're the one who always walks the dog, and taking it to the bathroom, or dropping it off at the groomer, or ironing their shirt. I don't know. Those are acts of service, and those can be very meaningful to somebody whose love language is that, or just anyone in general can appreciate that. But there are people who specifically only feel loved in that way, or mainly feel loved in that way, which is funny. But if you think about it, a lot of old school marriages, you think about the dynamics, and a lot of times the husband is doing stuff around the house and fixing things, and that's like his only way of showing love to his wife, because he doesn't talk much and he doesn't like PDA, and he's probably not that affectionate and probably doesn't have a lot of time. So he's like, well, I love you, I'm doing all this stuff for you, hello. But she doesn't feel loved because maybe her love language is quality time or physical touch or something. So I find that a lot of men that I've encountered show their love with acts of service or gift giving, which can be kind of not that great if somebody doesn't enjoy receiving gifts. And you think, who doesn't enjoy receiving gifts? Well, there are people who were preconditioned to get the things that they need for themselves and learned not to ask for things, and to even become uncomfortable asking for things because it was either held over them, or they were shamed for it, or they were constantly told no. So there's a negative association with the whole idea of someone doing something for you, even if it's nice and thoughtful. And I can relate with that one. So if you didn't guess it, my least love language, if that's even the proper way to phrase it, is receiving gifts. And I appreciate everything that anyone ever does for me. That's nice, and they don't have to do it. I get it. But it makes me so uncomfortable, especially if I'm not prepared for it and it's a surprise. Because on top of the fact that I'm used to getting everything I need myself, I don't like to have extra things that I don't need. And so me and my dad are very in tune with one another when it comes to this. And this might actually, apply to the 5 love languages for children. But my dad, he came into my life, became a part of my life in my 20s, in my early 20s. Other than that, we were like pen pals most of my life. And so he didn't ever gift me as a child anything other than letters and drawings, which was cool. But when I got older for holidays, I don't think he really knew what to do at first. And he's very similar to me in the sense that he knows specifically what he wants. He probably doesn't feel comfortable being given things. And so we just tell each other exactly the exact specific thing that we want for holidays. And it's never anything outrageous or even expensive. But for example, I told my dad for Christmas, when he asked me what I wanted, I told him it's okay, we're in a pandemic, I don't want a gift. He said, no, I'm going to get you something. I have a lot of years to make up for, which I thought was really cute and touching. I appreciated that. That gesture meant a lot to me. I told him I wanted a weighted blanket. because I had been wanting to buy one, but I hadn't bought one because I couldn't justify spending more money on another thing that I wasn't sure if I really needed, but I just had heard that it would help me to sleep better. So I was teetering about it, like, because I like to be mindful about things that I buy or add to my collection of stuff, because I don't like to have a lot of stuff. So I asked my dad for a weighted blanket, and he knew I even needed a specific color in order to be able to utilize it, because I'm very specific in my color scheme, even at home. If you ever come over, you'll notice that everything is gray and white, and that's just how it is. There's a little bit of brown and wood accents, but other than that, everything is gray and white, and I do have some purple lights and stuff around and some colorful paintings, but that's just how it is. I don't know. Can't explain it. And so if my dad would have gotten me a blanket that was maroon or something, it would have been something I would have to hide during the day and then put out at night. I know, I'm weird. I don't know. Judge me if you want. But my dad knows that. He understands that about me. He knows he wants me to use the thing he's going to give me. So he says, okay, I found it. There's a navy blue one and there's a gray one. Which one do you want? Gray, please, Dad, gray. And I told him I wanted a gray one, and he got me a gray one. And now I can display it because it matches my decor. Thank you, Dad. So that is how difficult it is to give someone like me, I guess, a gift, which is why I don't even bother asking for gifts or want gifts from people, especially not surprises, because I will take them and I'll be thankful for them, but then I'll feel guilty for not utilizing them. Maybe that's just me being conditioned poorly in that regard. I'll admit it, I'm flawed, but some people, they just can't get enough stuff and they just want this and that and this and that. Not me. It's stressful getting a gift. So my least love language, to say the least, is receiving gifts. So, forget about it when someone wants to give me money instead of a gift, like a significant other. I mean, like when it's supposed to be a sentimental thing, like an anniversary or something, and I just get money, which actually has only happened once because I dated someone who I think expressed love only in giving things and no other way at all. And so it was like, here's money through Zelle. Here's money, like, I don't know. And I was grateful for it, but it really didn't make me happy because I felt like I was just getting my money back for my gift that I gave, that I spent a lot of time and thought into trying to get, like a very specific color of shoe or boot, and ordering it and fast tracking it and wrapping it and doing all that, and then to get Zelle of the exact same amount of money that I spent or whatever thought of putting into that gift made me feel like I just got reimbursed for my gift and I didn't really get anything, which sounds weird to say, but that's how some people feel loved, though. I know a lot of girls who love getting money from their significant others, or vice versa. I'm sure there's a lot of men out there who would love to get money from their girlfriends, I guess. But then there are some out there who wouldn't want it. They'd be like, okay, weird. And those are the people I understand. That's all I could say. So yeah, the next one that I would say is my least love language, or I don't know how to phrase that. Like I said, would probably be physical touch, because I wasn't raised to be like hugged a lot by my mom. Actually, we weren't around each other that much. And then my dad, of course, I couldn't really see him that much. So my parents didn't really hug me because they weren't that present in my upbringing. And then the people who were raising me weren't very touchy-feely either, because I wasn't their kid. The only person who was like really affectionate with me and hugged me and held me a lot was my grandma and my godmother. They hugged me and squeezed me and kissed me and loved me like when I was a kid. And so I do have some of that in me, but I didn't see them all the time, very often at that. Like my grandma lived out of state, and my godmother would only see me when she was able to see me, like when they would let her see me. Sometimes it was a lot, sometimes it was a little, but that was my only touch of that growing up. So being like an adult, it's weird to me. Like I'll hug my friends and stuff, but to be out like holding hands or hugging or lap sitting, just all that stuff is still hard for me. Like especially since as you can see, I'm not married or anything, so I haven't gotten married to someone who I know is always going to be there and who I will hug and hold hands with and whatever. And I'm not one to do that with just anybody. I can't just go out to a bar and meet a guy and hold his hand and let him be all balmy and like touchy-feely or even kiss. Blech. Gross. It's not my thing. So I'm a little weird when it comes to that, and I would say that's not one main dominant way that I feel loved. So, man, this is very revealing. I don't even know if I want to put this out. Whatever. Don't care. It's all good. Don't judge me for any of this. I'm being honest, okay? Now, my other least but third most, I guess, if I had to pick a top 3, this would be my number 3. Words of affirmation. And the reason why is because I don't believe just words. So if someone just tells me this and that, I'm not going to believe it. The actions have to align with the words. If the actions don't align with the words mean nothing. And then if it's someone who lies a lot, white lies, things like that, then it means extra nothing. And if it means extra nothing, just keep it, because I don't care. But I do love words as a form of expression. I love to write. I love to write stories. I love to read stories. I love books. I think words are very powerful. I think words are very beautiful, but they don't hold much value in proving anything to me. So I would say it's my third, but it's not something I don't like. I definitely like hearing words of affirmation. I love hearing, how someone feels about me, or what they appreciate about me. I love hearing compliments from someone that I love, maybe not generic ones or shallow ones, but genuine ones about things that have to do with my mind, or things that have to do with my work ethic, or something that has nothing to do with the exterior. I don't really care too much about compliments in regards to how I look physically. Not that I think that it's bad to say things like that, but it just doesn't hold a lot of value to me. If anything, I feel a little uncomfortable, because that's another thing. It's weird, but I just don't hold too much value in that, believe it or not, although my presence is on Instagram, and it's a lot of nice pictures and stuff. To me, I'm just working with what I got, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I don't think that's the thing that I value most about myself in the slightest. So that's why it doesn't mean much to hear that from my significant other. And I would hope that that's not the thing that they like about me best, because looks fade, baby. Looks fade. So I would say my second primary love language is acts of service. And that is because that is walking the walk. So if someone is showing me they care about me through the things that they're doing for me, or the things that they're doing with me, or whatever, I value that a lot, because that is showing me you're putting your money where your mouth is. And that's why acts of service is my secondary favorite, or whatever, love language, because you need to show me you love me. You don't need to tell me you love me, bucko. And so that, I think, is cool. And usually acts of service don't cost money. Like, I love when my significant other takes out the trash for me, or washes the dishes for me, or washes their own dish for that matter, or cleans up after themselves. I love that. That's amazing. That takes off so much stress for me, because I need to be putting things in order all the time, and I don't like just seeing stuff where it doesn't belong for too long, and I'm always cleaning up, so I don't really like having to worry about that stuff. So if the person that I'm with will take care of that, then I appreciate it a lot, and I feel very loved. And finally, the last is quality time, and that is my first love language. Quality time. I love being around someone that I love. I love doing things together, going to the grocery store. Some people get annoyed at this, and you know what? There are people I don't like to be around. So don't get me wrong, I like to do a lot of things by myself. And when I say I don't like to be around, I mean I've dated people who I don't get along with, and it's a relief when they're gone. That's always a bad sign, right? But then I've dated a person that I get along really well with, and going to the grocery store is fun, and going to go eat at Denny's is fun, and going for a walk is fun, and going to the gym together is fun, and going to Disneyland together is fun, and talking about nothing is fun, and bike rides are fun, and walking around the neighborhood is fun, and just everything is enjoyable and pleasant, and that quality time is priceless. That I've even been with somebody where watching TV together is fun and quality time in some weird way, because supposedly that's not quality time. But then I've been with somebody who, no matter what we did together, it never felt like we were together. It never felt like we were with each other, or we were connecting, because there was always a wall, and the things we did do together were very minor, and it was like watch TV, watch sports, watch video games, go places together but not actually connect with each other. So like be talking to other people, like at a party or social event, just anything but connect with each other basically. And that is horrible. And in that relationship, that type of relationship, someone like me would feel very unloved and unsatisfied because there's no connection no matter what, especially if that person doesn't really like your personality or understand your personality and they're just with you for the novelty of it or something weird. You can always feel that. So if you're in a relationship like that, I'd get out. A lot of times people who are well off are in relationships like that, or people who are in a relationship with someone they find physically attractive, but that's it. That's usually the case there. So when you're with someone for an external factor, it's usually not that great because you're not going to have a real connection, and it's not going to be two-sided. One person can be very committed to having a connection and building a connection, and the other could be totally disinterested, and you just need one person to be disinterested to have a horrible relationship. So it definitely has to be two-sided. Now, if you're wondering, why would you leave a relationship that you were in with somebody who you had such a great time with prior to that? And that's because there are other factors and other qualifiers and things that we want and require out of a relationship. So, like, for example, some of us have bottom lines as far as, like, what we'll accept trust-wise. Like, maybe trust is very important, right? So you might have a great time with someone, but if you don't trust them, the relationship is over. And so, in my case, the only thing that's ever broken a great relationship, and it's happened a couple times, was broken trust. And I won't be too specific about how that trust was broken, but that's been the thing. And then for the others, it's been just bad match, just like not a good match, not a good fit. And so I definitely say that I do my best to try to understand where the other person's coming from and try every scenario, because if I am with somebody, it was something that was very intentional and rare. And so I'm not one to just throw things away, but when they're done, and you just need to understand why. And that at least I feel like you need to try everything you can to make it work until you get to the point so that there's nothing to go back to, so that there's no back and forth, makeup to breakup stuff going on, because homie don't play that either. So, that being said, that's all I'm going to say about the 5 love languages, guys. This is going to be a short episode. I just want you to take that into account. Consider reading the book. If you do want to read it, you can go to audibletrial.com/Jordy for your free month at Audible, and you can get this book. I love Audible. I use it all the time, especially when I need to read a book quickly and I have a lot to do. I will just put it on while I'm cooking or in the shower, doing my makeup, whatever. So I highly recommend, if you want to get some of your podcast merch, it's linked below as well, of me and Nala and then my bucket hat. And I appreciate you, those of you who are still watching. Please let me know in the comments if you enjoy these shorter episodes or if you'd like a longer one. Still trying to figure out this whole podcast thing. I don't really know what my deal is. But I'm not going to quit. I'm going to keep trying to do it. It was a little bit difficult to get the book in this week. I did have a lot of things to do for some reason. It was just tricky concentrating on that. But I got it done. And some of the books are longer, so it's a little bit more daunting. But I would like to continue to post weekly. So just let me know what you think. And I appreciate you for looking. I hope you had a great Valentine's Day, Galentine's Day, or Nothingtine's Day. And I will talk to you soon. Bye.